This is top 5 reasons for and against fluff. Side note, we're closing in on 200 subscribers, so if you could subscribe, that would be legendary. Number 1. Having a ton of troops can act as a piggy bank for saving resources and getting them out of your depots. This piggy bank can be redeemed during War of the Kings or Kill event, where you get, I think it's 70% or 80% back depending on the event. So it is important to choose the event for the best redemption of your resources. Number 2, fodder for combat. Having a big stockpile can be really useful for Alliance Expedition, just for getting points and pushing enemies out of the way, especially when you have to constantly think about the fact that you're not going to be able to heal your troops because of the healing resource or whatever it is that restricts the amount of, or how often you can teleport and heal your troops during that event. This is actually the same reason it's great to have a ton of fluff during Lost Island, is because you are sometimes in heavy PvP situations, you're going to run out of healing fungi pretty quick. And it's also very expensive to heal Season 11 ants. So when you just need a bunch of fodder, you can use your boosted T9s. And they usually do pretty well against most comparable troops. Using those in the right circumstances can be awesome, especially considering they only cost honeydew to heal, as well as a few speed ups, obviously. Number 3, intimidation. Having a ton of troops can be really intimidating, especially when you're facing, just regular enemies that are super slimmed down or even mid to normal size. Because you have all those troops, you can spare a bunch. So throwing them at people just to, scare them away, it can work really well in your advantage in combat situation. Number 4, troop advantage. Collecting a couple million of each different troop type, it can be really, really helpful. Because you're going to be needing your different troop types for pangolin and for gathering. And soon we'll need them for Groundhog's Revenge. Number 5, stress reduction. Here's the thing, is you can always slim down super easily. It's not difficult to pair up with someone on your server during a kill event, and just get rid of all of those extra bloat troops that you have if you do want to slim down. So there's really no drawback to having them, and having them is going to cause you less stress because you're not going to be constantly worrying about running out of troops. And if you're in an active PvP zone, that's great. You can throw them around like they're nothing, and it doesn't make a big difference. So having a ton of troops is going to help alleviate some game stress. I don't want no fluff. Fluff is a god, I can't get no PvP. Number 1, PvP baiting. So the first point I'm going to come to for reasons against having fluff is that it's easier to bait people who think that you're weak by not having as much power, especially if you're hiding your stars. It's great for PvP baiting. Number 2, resource sink. So here's the counter argument to my point I made earlier. Having a bunch of troops is going to sink resources into it, and there is like a tax element to reclaiming those troops. You do lose 20-30% of the resources that you spent on them, getting the resources back out. But if you just use those resources wisely and put them into buildings or research, other things, I don't know, there is ways that you can use those resources instead. Number 3, accurate power. So this is a bit of a weird one. Showing your accurate power to yourself can stop you from getting an inflated ego or an underego. It makes you know where you are statistically in your realm. If you have an accurate idea of your own power, you're not going to be shooting way higher than you should, trying to take on, mega whales or whatever, and losing a ton of troops. Number 4, saves, speed ups, and diamonds. This one's pretty clear cut. It takes speed ups, it takes diamonds to make these troops in the first place. If you're trying to save diamonds and speed ups for VIP 15 or for big builds and later stage evos that take, 200 plus hours or whatever, then it's a good idea not to make these troops and just to passively generate them and not have as much fluff. Number 5, less attention. So drawing attention to yourself can be advantageous and disadvantageous in the ants. And if you don't want that attention, one of the easiest ways to do it is blend into the crowd. Stay down in the median powers where you don't have a ton of troops, but you have enough to play around and do what you need to do. And you're going to find that there are people who want to attack you just because you have a bunch of troops. And that is the way that these sorts of games work. There's a tactical element to not having a ton of troops, and it is that you just won't draw as much attention to yourself. Anyway, this has been 5 reasons for and against having a ton of fluff troops. See you next time. Bye-bye.